All right. So, hello. Welcome to CNN. Tonight we'll be analyzing the drastic economic collapse that has racked our country and set thousands of people on the street. In a much anticipated interview, we will question the man who has been championing non-interventionism for such a long time. Live from New York, here's Alan Greenspan.
Hello, sir. It's very nice to be on the show tonight. Let's get started.
All right. So, Mr. Greenspan, there's no denying your utter brilliance. You have been labeled by some of our country's highest politicians as the reason for our country's great financial success over the past few decades. You've been Fed chairman for near 20 years and have spent the entire time blowing the minds of nearby politicians. You are quite possibly the most prominent champion of laissez-faire or hands-off economics in the entire world. You have been an invaluable resource for all things economy. But, as you know fully well, we have entered into the worst recession in decades. Unemployment is at historic highs and millions are in dire straits financially. How would you respond to the claim that your hands-off economic policies have been the cause of this dreadful economic crisis?
Well, sir, there's one thing you need to know about this recession we're in. Sure, the whole of the crisis is the sum of many, many different, sometimes incomprehensible factors. Everything from black box derivatives to random price bubbles in commodities to general financial wastefulness and incompetence is the cause of this terrible recession. But there's one component that overshadows most others, and that is the subprime mortgage crisis.
And you had very little regulation in place to regulate such irresponsible lending?
Well, frankly, yes. When the speculative bubble on homes began to rise insurmountably, people scrambled to become a part of it to make some quick money. Inevitably, the speculative bubble burst and burst hard. People were head over heels in debt and faced foreclosures constantly. Our economy collapsed. Believe me, I tried during my entire career to identify and attack such threats to our financial stability. Fortunately and unfortunately, I did not find one until around 2006, near the end of my career. I warned of a huge crash in the housing market after my term. Nobody heeded my advice, and according to my belief at the time, I wanted nobody to heed my advice.
You don't believe that perhaps by regulating the absurdly loose loan policies of banks, setting higher reserve requirements and such, we could have possibly avoided such a catastrophic meltdown? I know you are a great champion of free market economics, but as head of the Federal Reserve, it was your job to protect the economy using the tools that have been placed at your disposal. If you refuse to use the regulatory powers attributed to your position, then what is the point of you being chairman? How can you say that you tried to combat threats at the financial sector when you refuse to even acknowledge the problems?
Look at it like this. What happens if we don't let irresponsible financial counterparts feel the consequences of their actions? There's this moral hazard concept that they will change absolutely nothing about their behavior, and we will face the same problem in the future. We can't just let people's mistakes get erased. We can't give them a free pass. When we have no accountability for our actions, we will never take responsibility for them. Let's face it, the economy is a strictly for profit creature. There are no handouts. If I threw my considerable political weight around and changed the economic picture to my liking, there's no knowing how much damage I could have done. We all know that the government is a dangerous economic power that can just as easily throw the country into depression as it can make it prosperous.
Very nice. Just as a reference to what you were talking about, the subprime mortgage crisis, a little graph of home prices over the years. You can see how ridiculously high it became nearing the end of the 2000s. Yeah, and
Precisely.
here's a little pretty pretty graph. Yeah. All right. Thank you for your time, Mr. Greenspan.
All right, thank you very much,
Uh,
sir.
Good luck.
You too.
We'll need it.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. Um.